Ladies and gentlemen, our next guest is just about over the Dallas Cowboys loss from earlier in the week, and he is up, out of bed, and a functioning member of society once again, and here to tell us all about the movies. Good morning, David Blaustein.
That's not true. I'm still in bed.
You're still suffering.
I can't get over it.
Because,
I can't be a sports fan anymore.
Because I understand when Romo gets back pain, you get back pains.
I do. We're like that. I shouldn't make the comparison I was about to make on a family-friendly radio show. Yeah. No. That was rough. That hurt. That really did hurt. What hurt even more is that they put him back in the game. That was just dumb. Then they completely abandoned their running game after first down, and DeMarco Murray gains 8 yards, and on the next 3 plays, they pass. Go with what got you there, fellas. Did I just sound like I was from Brooklyn?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Not only can he break down movies, he can also break down an NFL game. All right, let's get to it. What's this movie, Nightcrawler? What's this one about?
That is a terrific movie starring Jake Gyllenhaal, who plays this indelible character named Lou Bloom. My man lost 20 pounds. Jake Gyllenhaal does not have 20 pounds to lose.
No.
I mean, his physicality, it's threatening, it's menacing. He's a petty thief, a violent petty thief who is not really happy with his job situation. I'll give you a brief example. At the beginning of the movie, we see him cold cock a security guard at a construction site where he steals a bunch of stuff, goes to another construction site, probably at about 1 o'clock in the morning, and sells the stuff that he just stole to the foreman. And after he negotiates and haggles using business language and sales language that he learned online, of course, he then asks the foreman to hire him. And the foreman looks at him and says, I'm not hiring you. And he asks why. Because I don't hire thieves. So that's a great piece of dialogue and very important for what happens later, because he decides his next career move is going to be a freelance photojournalist for a local Los Angeles news station. Because that's what news people, that's who news people are. And remember, a foreman at a construction site at 1 o'clock in the morning. Oh, did I mention that he was willing to do an internship and work for free? Would not hire him because he was a thief. Rene Russo, who plays the news director of this news station, realizes that he is an unsavory, unethical character, but he keeps supplying this sensational video footage that she keeps putting on the news, and it's helping her ratings. So she just continues to go with it. But what a terrific performance from Jake Gyllenhaal, who I think is one of our better, more compelling actors, who every time he does a movie, I think he should be nominated for an Oscar. This movie is no exception. I don't know if he's going to. Very clever. I mean, from an intellectual standpoint, and I don't pretend to be intellectual, but sometimes I can tell when there's something intellectual happening. And in this particular movie, I did have a slight problem with the fact that Rene Russo had to be a woman. I think I would have liked it maybe a little better if the character was a man, because the way she was manipulated didn't really speak well for women. And I think that was just a tad bit irresponsible, but not enough to really destroy the movie. I mean, if that part was a man, I might be giving this 5 out of 5 stars, but instead I'm giving it 4.5 out of 5, because I think it has a lot of really great things to say, albeit over-the-top things to say about the state of the media today and the sensationalism that is so just all around broadcast media and the internet.
I will tell you that those trailers that I've seen, maybe I'm not paying attention to the trailers, but your description of that movie is not what I thought that movie was going to be at all.
That's what I'm here for.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Breaking it down for us.
And also, some of it is actually very thrilling and a little scary. It's not a horror movie, but his behavior is frightening, and the situations he finds himself in are pretty tense.
So, is it? I'll leave it. Never mind, because you could make a horror movie about radio and television news.
It's
no
a
comment.
Very scary thing.
I could, yes, I could easily. Man, we could talk 3 hours about that. We could just do one show on that, but nobody would care.
That's right.
It would be a big pity party.
All right. What about this next one? Before I go to sleep.
Yeah, well, you remember the movie Memento from Christopher Nolan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, terrific movie. Guy Pearce losing his memory every 15 minutes, and then they tell the story backwards. Well, in this movie, you have Nicole Kidman, who is an amnesiac. She's 40 years old. She plays a woman named Christina. And Christina wakes up one morning in a house, doesn't recognize where she is, looks over. Colin Firth, an Oscar winner, is sleeping in bed with her, but doesn't recognize him as Colin Firth, the Oscar winner. Doesn't recognize him at all. Goes, searches around the house, finds a collage of pictures of her and the guy in the bed. She's clearly frightened, walks back into the bedroom. He's sitting at the edge of the bed, and he tells her what's going on. Your name is, you have amnesia. You were in a terrible car accident. My name is Ben. I'm your husband. We go through this every morning, and he sits there and he explains what's going on. And you assume this is what's been going on for like 10 years, every day of her life. She has memories, but only dating back to like the beginning of her 20s, and then everything else is blank. So she'll remember before she goes to bed everything that happened that day, but nothing before that. This doctor contacts her who had heard about her, and he starts treating her, doesn't want Ben to know, gives her a camera to do a video diary every day, a secret video diary. And through that diary, it starts jogging her memory, and nothing is what it seems to be. Now, here's the problem. This movie is 92 minutes long, which is very short for a movie these days. And the payoff is okay, but it takes way too long to get to the payoff. It feels like it's 2 hours long. So there was a pacing problem. It wasn't as tense as it should have been. The performances were okay. And like I said, the payoff was all right. So 2.5 out of 5 stars. You can wait till this comes out. Or is available in your home theater.
All right, there you go. So that Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal. By the way, his best movie was October Sky. That was a great movie. I don't know.
October Sky is a great movie. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Donnie Darko. Donnie Darko, which is a pretty good Halloween movie because it's so creepy, and he certainly caught everybody's attention in that film, and his sister was in that movie too, Maggie Gyllenhaal as well. But, I'm a huge fan of Jake Gyllenhaal. I just think he's a tremendous actor, and he makes great choices.
Lastly, while we have you, David Blaustein, do you have a favorite scary movie of all time?
I probably have a few. I would have to say, probably Nightmare on Elm Street is the one that I love the most.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I think that movie really sufficiently scared me. I saw it probably with about 20 other people in somebody's apartment when I was like 12 years old or something like that. And it just freaked us all out. And a few people had already seen it. But, I just thought that movie was so well executed, and Freddy Krueger really is the stuff of your nightmares. If I had seen that movie for the first time now, I probably wouldn't. I don't know if I'd think that much of it.
Right.
Because I'm a hard sell when it comes to horror movies these days. But to me, that was terrific. I also love An American Werewolf in London. I think is just a classic horror movie that I love because it's also hilarious.
Yeah.
I know you're going trick-or-treating with your children.
I'm not.
Yes, he's not.
You're
I'm
not?
I'm not. Yeah, I know. People are surprised about that.
Are they going trick-or-treating?
They are not going trick-or-treating.
Yes, exactly. He's smart. Would you in New York? Would you take candy from strangers in New York?
We live in a decent neighborhood, and I would probably take. You know what's great about where I live? I'll tell you what's great. We live on a block that everybody assumes my block is like a dead end, so we don't get any trick-or-treaters
Because they're too afraid.
Nobody. Yeah, they're too afraid, and
The
there are
house
woods
at the end of the
there
street.
are woods at the end of our block. But no, we very rarely get trick-or-treaters. But it's not that. It's probably an explanation that some people wouldn't agree with or quite understand. But my wife was raised by conservative Jewish parents, and I was raised by conservative Jewish parents, and their parents were even more conservative. None of them celebrated Halloween, and we didn't celebrate Halloween growing up. And I have nothing against it, and we may start next year. Adela is very curious about Halloween and talks about it every day. So, but
He has nothing against it.
We'll probably start with it next year.
Yeah, you're afraid of nurses who don't have Ebola, but you'll take candy from strangers all day long.
What was your best Halloween costume?
Well, I have just enough time to tell you that my sister, Kelly, who now lives in Rockville Center, when we were kids, you know the old TV sets? Where they had 4 legs, and as a kid you could like climb under the TV set. She made me put on my Fred Flintstone costume with the fake mask and climb under the TV, and she made me come out like I was in the TV, and Fred Flintstone like came out into the living room.
That's great.
She was like,
great.
and that it was all dusty and a bunch of wires back
it.
there. She's like, no, go back there. I'm like, I can't breathe. No, go back there. And she made me climb under the TV and out from the TV.
I know it does. My sisters abused me as well. I understand.
Oh my God.
David Blaustein, have a good week. We'll check in with you next Friday.
Take care.
Bye.
8:30 here, Big 550 KT.